I think it's time to take back everything. With those words, Zhu Milam stepped from the shadows of her pain into the fire of her resolve. No longer just the broken bride, no longer just the daughter waiting by her brother's bedside, she became the woman who would reclaim her family's name. From the quiet strength of Qin Yiran's presence, to the haunting revelation of Evelyn's betrayal, to the storm that shattered Lin Jianhong's hold on Zhu Group, Mei-Lin's journey was no longer about survival. It was about rising, about justice, about love that refused to break. But victories won in daylight cast darker shadows at night. Chapter 63, Echoes in the Dark. The next morning, the sunlight slid through the blinds like silk, soft and warm, but Milam was already awake, standing by the window with her arms wrapped around herself. Her reflection in the glass looked different. Stronger, clearer. Last night, she stood beside Yiran under the sky, feeling for the first time that maybe the world wasn't wholly against her. That perhaps her heart wasn't meant to live behind armor forever. But there was still the matter of Evelyn, of Lin Jianhong, and the countless scars buried deep in the corridors of Zhu Group. The kettle whistled faintly from the kitchen. Yiran's quiet footsteps followed. No grand gestures, no questions, just the comfort of his presence, like the constant rhythm of waves against stone. I'm going back to the hospital today, Milam said without turning. Yiran didn't ask why, he just said, I'll drive you. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and memories. She walked through the hallway slowly, heels tapping softly on tile. Nurses greeted her gently, most of them now knew who she was. Not the broken bride, the daughter who never missed a day, the sister who whispered to a silent brother with endless hope. Zhu Hao was still as always, but she thought, hoped, his fingers twitched more now when she spoke. The doctors didn't promise anything, but they no longer looked defeated. I'm going to fix everything, Ge, she whispered, brushing her hand over his. Behind her, she heard the door creak softly. Yiran didn't speak, just placed a warm box on the side table, a meal she always forgot to bring. It wasn't dramatic, but it was what she needed. Later that evening, Milam sat in the study with her laptop open, eyes scanning old Zhu Group documents. There were inconsistencies, hidden transactions, forged signatures from her father's name. Lin Jianhong hadn't just tried to push her out. He'd nearly sold part of Zhu Group's overseas assets. Bastard, she muttered, copying a file to the encrypted drive Yiran gave her. But just as she was about to shut the computer, a message flashed across the bottom corner of the screen. It was from an unknown sender. Subject, she's not who you think she is. Attached was a video file. She hesitated only a second before clicking. The footage was grainy, time-stamped from nearly a year ago, the morning after her wedding. Her stomach dropped as the image clarified. Evelyn, in the suite, talking to hotel staff, bribing them, replacing memory cards, and then, handing a small envelope to someone. Her groom, no, her ex-husband. The trap hadn't just been Jianhong's design. Evelyn had orchestrated the execution. A sharp knock hit her apartment door. Milam snapped the laptop closed and stood, heart racing. It was Yiran. I need you to see something, he said, holding out his phone. Her breath caught again. On the screen, news alerts. Breaking, government audit launched against former Zhu Group board member Lin Jianhong after anonymous tip. Her eyes met his. Was it you? She asked. He shook his head. No, but I think you have more allies than you realize. A strange chill ran down her spine. Not fear, the sensation of threads beginning to come together. I think it's time, she whispered, to take back everything. Yiran stepped forward, gaze fixed on her. Then I'll stand beside you. Every step. End of chapter 63. Chapter 64, Beneath the Surface. The city rumbled beneath a grey sky. Rain tapped lightly against the glass walls of Qin Yiran's office as Milam stood by the window, reviewing a stack of files. The rain wasn't loud, but steady, like the hum of truth beneath lies that had lasted too long. I contacted the forensic accountant, she said, eyes fixed on a specific report. These numbers here, this isn't just laundering. Jianong moved shares illegally into a shell company overseas. Yiran looked up from his desk, brows narrowing. How sure are we? Enough to make it public. She turned, fire in her eyes. I want to call a board meeting. I want to tell them everything. And this time, I won't just plead my case. I'll prove it. Yiran leaned back, studying her. There was something different about her now. Not just resilience, but quiet fury. The kind that simmered after loss, after betrayal, after love had been stripped bare. It made her beautiful. It made her dangerous. I'll have my legal team prep a counter-offensive, he said, rising from his chair. And I'll stand with you. You already are, she whispered, almost too quietly. Later that night, in the dim glow of a quiet tea house, they sat in a secluded corner. No bodyguards, no reporters, just them. I used to come here with my mom, Milam said, stirring the jasmine tea in her cup. She loved the way they played Guzheng music. Said it made her feel like time slowed down. Yiran smiled softly. You talk about her a lot. Because I'm scared to forget her voice, Milam admitted, looking down. She was so strong and soft at the same time. I don't think I've ever balanced both. You have, he said simply. Their eyes met. It was soft. No confessions. No grand declarations. Just the silence of two souls learning how to exist near each other without masks. Back in her apartment that evening, Milam opened her laptop again, this time not for evidence, but a message. New email. From Anonymous. Subject, Evelyn is leaving the country. Terminal 4. Private hangar. Attachment, surveillance stills. Her heart thudded. She texted Yiran without hesitation. Milam, Evelyn is fleeing. Tonight. Terminal 4. Yiran. I'll send a team. Do not go alone. Milam, I won't. But she was already grabbing her coat. The wind at the private terminal was cold and laced with jet fuel. Milam stood behind a concrete barrier, heart pounding, as a sleek black car pulled up near the hangar. From it, Evelyn stepped out, dressed in a crisp white trench coat, sunglasses hiding her expression. She was met by a man with a suitcase. They exchanged words Milam couldn't hear. She took a photo, clicked record on her phone, and then stepped out from behind the barrier. Running away, Evelyn? Evelyn's eyes widened, but just for a second. She regained her composure quickly, lips curving. Well, look who finally learned how to bite. You framed me, Milam said, voice low. Sold my family out. Left us for dead. You weren't supposed to survive, Evelyn said, smiling cruelly. But I'll correct that mistake now. Suddenly, the man beside her moved forward, but before he reached Milam, headlights flashed from the distance. Yiran's black car skidded to a halt. His men poured out. Within seconds, Evelyn was restrained, and her associate was disarmed. Yiran stepped through the storm like a phantom of vengeance, jaw tight. I told you not to come alone, he said to Milam, but there was no anger, just relief. You knew I wouldn't listen. You're reckless. You are the one who chased a drugged girl into a wedding trap and still stayed to help her fight, she retorted. He blinked, then laughed, soft, low, and tired. Touché. Back at his apartment, she sat on the edge of the couch, rubbing her temples. You still trust me? She asked, voice barely audible. Yiran walked to her slowly, then crouched before her, taking her hands gently into his. I never stopped. End of chapter 64. Chapter 65, The Storm Before the Rise. The morning sky was clear, but Milan's nerves were anything but. Dressed in a tailored white suit, her expression poised and unwavering, she walked through the lobby of Zoo Group headquarters for the first time since her exile. People stared. Some bowed slightly, others whispered behind their hands. She ignored them all. Her heels clicked on the polished marble floors like war drums. Every step is a declaration, Zoo Milam is not gone. She is returning. At the top floor, the boardroom doors loomed. Security stopped her. I'm here under my legal right as a primary shareholder, Milam said calmly, producing documents. I'm reclaiming my 40%. The guards hesitated. Then, at a signal from someone behind, they stepped aside. She turned. Yiran was there. He gave her a single, supportive nod, no words needed. She pushed open the doors. Inside, the board sat around the long table. Most faces were familiar, some guilty, some smug. At the head sat Lin Jianong, leaning back like a king in his throne. Well, he drawled. The long-lost daughter returns. I'm not here for pleasantries, Milam said, setting a stack of files on the table. I'm here to expose fraud, embezzlement, and attempted murder. A low murmur rippled across the room. Those are serious accusations, Jianong said, expression amused. You'd need evidence. She turned to the screen behind her and connected her laptop. With one click, the room lit up with documents, video clips, bank transfers, all cross-verified. And then, finally, the email between Jianong and Evelyn, detailing the drugging and framing of Milam the night of her wedding. Jianhong's face finally changed. A flicker of panic behind the arrogance. Impossible, this is fabricated. He snapped. Then challenge it in court, Yiran's voice rang from the doorway as he entered, flanked by two legal advisors. My firm is already filing an injunction. Your accounts are being frozen as we speak. Milam walked toward Jianong slowly. You tried to take my name, my company, and my life, she said softly, but you underestimated one thing, I don't fall twice. The board turned. Some began nodding in agreement. Others looked ashamed. By the time Jianong was escorted out of the building by authorities, Milam didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply stood in silence. Because this wasn't a victory born from revenge. It was justice. Later, she and Yiran walked along the riverside, the air fresh with the scent of jasmine. You didn't even flinch, he said, quietly impressed. I was shaking inside, she admitted. But you stood tall. You believed in me, she whispered. He turned to her. I did. I do. There was a long pause between them. Then Milam reached for his hand, not hesitantly, but with certainty. I used to think love was a weakness, she said, watching the water shimmer in the evening light. But with you, it's become my strength. Yiran turned, pulling her close. His voice dropped, tender but intense. I fell for you before I even knew your name. That night, when you were just a memory I couldn't understand. I thought it was a mistake. But maybe, it was fate. She looked up at him, eyes glistening. Then, for the first time since her world shattered, Milam kissed him. Not out of desperation, but choice. End of chapter 65. Chapter 66, Ashes and Blueprints. The old Zoo Group office had once been a second home to Milam, its corners filled with childhood memories, her father's voice echoing in the halls, the scent of coffee her mother loved drifting in early mornings. Now, it smelled of dust and lost time. But as Milam stepped into her late father's corner office, flanked by a small but loyal team, she saw more than what had been lost. She saw what could be rebuilt. We'll need to audit every division touched by Jianong, said Ms. Liao, her new legal advisor. There's rot deep in procurement and overseas. I'll handle the board politics, Milam replied. Start by restoring funding to the hospitals and local projects my father initiated. We rebuild from integrity. She paused before her father's old chair. Then slowly, reverently, sat down. This wasn't about power. It was about legacy. And she was ready. Meanwhile, across the city, Yiran stood in front of his family's ancestral home. A grand estate on a hill, heavy with old stone and older silence. His mother's sudden message had summoned him, and something about the tone unsettled him. You've changed, she said as he entered the study, her eyes sharp behind cold grace. So has the world. She poured him tea, but he didn't drink it. Why am I here? She studied him. Because the girl you're entangled with, Milam, is stirring waters that were meant to remain still. Yiran's jaw tightened. Are you threatening her? No, she said smoothly. I'm warning you. Lin Jianhong's rise was aided by someone within our family. Old debts, ugly ties. If she digs too deep. Yiran stood slowly. Then maybe it's time they were uncovered too. You'd betray your own blood? I'd rather bleed the truth than live in a house of lies. He turned and left, fury simmering beneath his calm facade. For the first time, he realized his own family's history was tangled in Malan's downfall. And the only way forward was through fire. That evening, Melam returned home to find a box on her doorstep. No note, just a small antique jewelry case. Inside was a pendant she hadn't seen since her childhood, her father's lucky charm, the one he always wore during negotiations. She frowned. It had gone missing after the accident. Inside the box, tucked beneath the velvet, was a slip of paper. He knew. He left proof. Trust no one, except the one who didn't leave you. Her heart thundered. That meant her father had suspected Jianong. And possibly someone else. He'd hidden something, some truth or safeguard, and this was her breadcrumb. She is called Yiran. When he answered, his voice was grim. I need to tell you something, he said before she could speak. My family might be involved. My grandfather had business with Jianong. It wasn't clean. She closed her eyes. So this runs deeper than we thought. I'll dig with you, he promised. Even if it burns everything I come from. She didn't reply right away. But then we do this together. They were no longer just healing. They were preparing for war. End of chapter 66. The boardroom fell silent. Jianong was gone. Zhu Milam stood unshaken. Yet the echoes of betrayal still lingered. Her father's pendant whispered of secrets hidden long before her fall. Yiran's family ties threatened to entangle them both in deaths written in blood. And in the ashes of Zhu Group's rebirth, a new war waited to be born. Because beneath the mask, the deeper truths are still waiting. And the storm has only just begun. Stay with us, here on The Velvet Story, as we continue the journey, where love becomes strength, and every secret demands its price.